Hello, people of the internet. It is I, the NinjaNick333, and we're bringing you here the first round of the Champions League in Japan. This is a tournament that is set in E block and on, so they have had their rotation, which we have yet to have. Normally, our rotation happens in August. They've been pushing ours back to this coming April, so about 1 month from now, so that we can sort of get in line with Japan. Japan is always about 3 months ahead of us on set releases, and if we wait until April, we then are about 3 months behind in rotation as well to line up with the set releases. So they are playing E block on. Both the Scarlet set and the Violet set for them are legal in this tournament, because that has since released. These players are shuffling up. I do believe the Lost Box player is going first. They are on the left, and we have an Arceus player on the right. I did look ahead slightly. They are still fully in the COVID protocols here. As you can see, they have even protective shields in between both players so that they do not have to, sneeze on each other, as we do over here in the States. They also are still required to wear masks, which TPCI has just lifted. So these tournaments are hosted by TPC, very different from TPCI. The Pokemon Company International is who does all the international stuff, and everything in Japan is just the Pokemon Company. They also do rock, paper, scissors instead of rolling the die to choose who goes first or second, which is honestly a little more skilled. You can actually skillfully win rock, paper, scissors at times. You can sort of like read your opponent's movements and move faster than them. Like, it's a whole like competition on its own. I'm not sure what those little cards are that are just getting slid over there at the moment here. And of course, everything is in Japanese, so I cannot understand a single word that they are saying here. But we are going to get straight into this match in just a minute. They are laying their prize cards down. We see that this is a Goodra deck that is playing a Gardevoir line. This is, I believe, the Gardevoir that lets you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, and if they are energy cards, you can attach them to your Pokemon, and if not, put them in your hand, I want to say it is. I'm not 100% sure on that. I will be looking up a lot of cards as we go, so bear with me while I do that. They may also be playing the new Gardevoir EX potentially as well. Yeah, once during your turn, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck and attach any number of basic energy cards you find there to your Pokemon in any way you like. Put the other cards into your hand. So yes, it's essentially a draw 2 if there's no energy cards in there, which is really good. We do see, yes, Lost Box is going first. They are playing the Nest Ball, which is a reprint. We have had Nest Ball before. It allows you to search your deck for a basic Pokemon, put it directly to the bench. Works a lot like the Capture Energy, except it is an item card. So this will be our replacement for Quick Ball in this format. We have had that before in, I believe, the Sun and Moon era. That was when we last printed Nest Ball. That may have been the first and only print of that. We are going for the Radiant Greninja. I do believe that that is a good card to get out on the first turn. The way that they are cutting, I do believe, since they can't actually touch each other's cards in Japan right now because of the COVID protocols, they are most likely doing what Digimon kind of popularized with their online events. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! May have been doing it too. Whenever you shuffle your deck, your opponent declares a number of cards that you cut from the top of your deck to the bottom. So his opponent probably just said 3 cards or something. Yeah, it looks like 3. So then after the shuffle is done, they just put 3 cards from the top to the bottom. So we saw the concealed cards. We saw looks like a level ball to get a Ralts, an attach for the turn, and a pass. So this is a very interesting deck. So it's probably not Lost Box in all honesty. It's just playing the Kyogre in there. We do not see any Comfeys. We're just going to be playing the just Gardevoir, Goodra, Kyogre. So a very, very odd deck choice. The way that they put the cameras here in these Japan matches are a lot better than they do in the internationals when they're trying to do the cam, because now we can see the deck somewhat well, but we can also still see the board when they go to this camera angle. So a lot more cameras on the board, and it's just a lot better the way they have it set up. They also have an energy and supporter marker on the screen. It also shows exactly which turn number it is as well. So very interesting to see the differences between Japan and the international tournaments. I'm on what I would consider the correct side of the screen this time, because all I'm blocking is the Champions League thing behind me. It's right here. And on this left side actually shows the timer for the match. Looks like this might be an Arc Pika deck. So he is playing the Flying Pikachu in there. We saw that during the deck search. We are going to be playing this Judge down. We're going to shuffle both players' hands into the deck and draw a new 4 cards. Of course, both players are going to declare how many are going to be cut to the bottom first. And yep, so we're going to see a new fresh 4. We already have the double turbo energy here on the Arceus V, so we are going to see the Trinity Charge. That will allow you to put 3 basic energies on your V Pokemon in any way you like here. So we are going to see 3 water come down. Looks like we're putting them all on the bench. I see that Shadow Rider and Ice Rider are both up on the screen. I hope not that those are both in this Arceus player's deck, because that would be an absolute mess. Maybe he's playing Ice Rider and the opponent is also playing Shadow Rider. And again, a lot of these Japanese decks, they just kind of throw a whole bunch of things at the wall and hope something sticks sometimes, it seems like. I did see at least the deck archetypes of a lot of the things that did top cut, and they are a lot more standard looking than what we're going to see in the earlier rounds. So we are going to use the Kirlia that has the discard draw 2 effect, and we are going to get a Ralts off of that we will bench as well. We are going to continue putting energies onto this Greninja, and we are playing what I'm going to assume is a Judge. I believe Marnie did rotate. I do believe it was a D block card, and you're going to see a lot less sufficient shuffling from Japan, because their rules really don't care about how sufficiently you shuffle. They kind of just believe if you're not going to shuffle well enough, it's on you. And you could see here on the left that the energy and supporter were both lit up since both of those had been used for the turn. So it allows us here at home to be able to really see exactly how the opponent is playing and keep track of everything a lot nicer. The prize card count is also at the top. They are all gray right now. They will light up when one of the players takes a prize card. And we are going to be seeing the prize card cam, kind of like we do over in the international areas as well. So it looks like we're not going to go for another Judge this time from the player on the right. We are going to go for a Chorus's Experiment. Going to dig 5 cards deep. We're going to Lost Zone 2 of these cards. It'll be interesting to see. It looks like it's a Sharon's Care and something else. The Lost Zone is above the prize cards, so we're going to go see those just leave the board here. We're not going to be really able to keep track here on our side, but hopefully the players are keeping track very well. It's a little interesting that there isn't a Lost Zone count on the screen here on this Japan stream, even though we have quite a lot of different information on screen. We even show that it is round 1 right now. That is right here. And the Arceus does just use its second attack to do 130, and that will knock out this active Kyogre. The Greninja is going to be the promotion. It is 1 energy away from attacking. A little unfortunate draws here from the Arceus player. Have not seen a single one of these Arceus V-Stars yet. Doesn't really have a way to get that Starbirth or have anything be set up here yet, even with that Chorus's Experiment to dig a little further. We are going to see, it looks like we discard an Escape Rope to use the Kirlia to draw 2. We are going to evolve the Gardevoir, and use its ability to essentially draw 2. Looks like there were no energies there, so we're not going to use those. We're going to discard a Drapion that is not useful in this matchup because it's really only good against Mew VMAX. It can be used against some Pokemon like Rapid Strike Urshifu, Single Strike Urshifu, because they are also of those types. You can even use it when your opponent has a bunch of Sobbles in play. But really, you just want to hit Mew VMAX for weakness with that thing. We also see the cards being tapped to signify that they have used their abilities. It looks like we have not used the Radiant Greninja yet, so we might be able to discard and draw 2 yet again. So this Gardevoir deck seems to have quite a lot of consistent draw. It's even nice that the Kirlia is able to draw, so you can draw 2 with the Kirlia, then evolve it to the Gardevoir, and then draw 2 again. It's pretty sweet. We are going to see the benching of a Hisuian Goodra. I'm wondering what types of energy acceleration are really in this deck, because at this point, I'm assuming there isn't the Gardevoir EX. I don't really see any point in playing Psychic Energy in a Goodra deck like this. Probably just using the Gardevoir as a draw option. So it is nice to see that we are going to get more playable stage 2s now. That the format might slow down enough so that those would be useful. We do see a Clara is going to get back some energy in Pokemon here. We are going to do the Greninja's attack, put 90 damage down on both Pokemon here for the right player with the Arceus. So, yep, you do see 90 damage there. We see 1 of the orange with 4 of the yellow on each of the Pokemon. That's 50 and 4 10s to make 90. We do see that the Path to the Peak is in play, so that might be the other reason why the Greninja has not been using its concealed cards and why we may not have seen an Arceus V-Star yet. So the Path to the Peak could potentially be shutting off the Arceus player's own plays, but at least it is slowing down the opponent as well. It's just very unfortunate that the opponent has these Gardevoir lines here. But yeah, it looks like the energy acceleration of choice will just be the Gardevoirs. We're not going to be really using Mirage Gate. Normally, Goodra works very best with the Lost Zone engine. The Lost Zone engine still does very well. And it looks like we are going to see yet another Judge. Since Marnie has left the format, Judge is the premier way to disrupt your opponent's hand. Since that Gardevoir deck is drawing so many cards every turn, you gotta make sure you disrupt them as often as possible. Looks like there is an Echoing Horn and an Energy Recycler. We've already had some energy recycled, and there's only, I think, maybe 2 in the discard right now. So that hand is looking pretty dead. We're gonna want a replacement stadium or maybe a Lost Vacuum in order to get rid of that path. Looks like we are nest balling for a Flying Pikachu basic here. The damage counters are moving around. I do prefer the dice. I think that these damage counters that Japan has are really cool, and I've almost bought them at multiple different tournaments that I've seen them from vendors, but they're just so hard to use. They just take up so much time just placing actual damage markers like that I would just rather use dice. I really like things along the lines of the TC Evolutions. I really like the golden, silver, like the really heavy like Pokemon ones that come in those big boxes like the Charizard UPC. Those are my favorite ones because they're bigger than the World's dice, but they are more durable than the TC Evolutions because those can get really scratched up very easily. Looks like there may have been a mistake or something here, so it looks like there might be a judge call. Play has been paused, so is the timer. Not quite sure what exactly happened. Maybe we'll see if there is a solution here to that. Both players are laughing. Somebody probably screwed up. I'm not sure which player it was. I don't think Greninja was used under Path. We definitely haven't seen any abilities from the player on the right. This is where I would put the sound on for the stream so I could listen in to see what they're discussing, but I don't speak Japanese, so there's no point. Maybe there's an issue with... Oh, so this player evolved the Kirlia and then evolved it into Gardevoir in the same turn. So I completely missed that. Don't know how I missed that. But we also see these judges have really cool, like, jerseys. They really look like they're sports judges. They even got, like, Pokeball patches on the sides of their shirts here. That's really cool. And it just says in big letters, judge. I like these a lot better than the ones that we have. Although the ones that we have aren't that bad. They've steadily gotten better over the years. So it looks like they're trying to come up with some sort of rectification for the game board state. And I'm not sure if they're going to be able to really rewind anything. I'm not sure how Japan does their penalties. But the player on the right, the Arceus player, is already up 2 prize cards. The other player here has not really done much of anything. Yeah, so we're going to have to see if there is some sort of ruling or if this is just a game loss. Yeah, I don't know if they do DPLs there, double prize card penalties, or if they're just single prize card penalties. Back in the days of the TCG, before Pokemon EX were really a big thing, all these 2 prize Pokemon, there were 1 prize penalties, and somewhere during the, I don't remember if it was the beginning of the Sun and Moon era, with the coming of the Pokemon GX, if that's around the time when the double prize penalties became a thing, because so many decks were playing just... Oh... Yeah, so many decks were just playing so many 2 prize Pokemon that getting a 1 prize penalty just wasn't really a thing, like didn't matter. And a 2 prize penalty, which was the more extreme, would matter a little more. Now it's a double prize and a quad prize penalty here. But it looks like they are receiving a triple prize penalty. So the opponent here on the right, the Arceus player, is going to take an additional 3 prize cards. So over here in the international area, those tournaments hosted by TPCI, or more correctly, the people that they just say, okay, make a regional. Because TPCI only does the actual international tournaments, and they just let random TOs just do whatever they want for the regionals. They have it so that you do not take the prize cards. You just have to take that many less. Because of cards like N that were in the format at the time that would actually give you a benefit to giving yourself a penalty, because then you could end your opponent to a very small hand size and then just steamroll from there. But it looks like in Japan the rules are still that you take the prize cards for the penalty. So we are going to have to see if this Goodra player can come back. He's really going to have to find a way to power up this Goodra this turn to have any sort of chance. So we are going to see this Kirlia. We're going to be able to draw 6 cards this turn. And some of them are going to have to be the energies that we need in order to power up the Goodra. So here comes the Kirlia. We can use it to discard a card and draw 2. Looks like maybe we've used the 1 Gardevoir already. I must have missed that. Talking too much. We are going to use the Energy Recycler to get as many energies into the deck as possible to make sure that these Gardevoirs hit. And we will have to see, can the Goodra get powered up? We get an energy. Oh boy, we needed at least 1 more off of that, and then we could have attached for turn to actually attack with the Rolling Iron. Looks like we are going to use our V-Star power here. Does Forest Seal Stone even work on that? I guess so. I never really thought about that. Usually don't play Forest Seal Stone in a deck that already has a V-Star power, because usually using that V-Star power is a little bit better. But it looks like Forest Seal Stone in Goodra is apparently a little bit more useful. So we are going to go for the Roxanne here. So this is exactly what I was saying about why you do not take the prize cards in the international tournaments anymore. And that is because you can put yourself into Roxanne range by making a mistake like that gets caught too late. And now you can Roxanne your opponent to a small hand, making them essentially brick, and now you can steamroll and take all 6 prize cards from here with the 1 Goodra. So that is why I do not like that type of prize penalty. I mean, it's probably not going to matter too much. This dude needs to take literally a prize, so we're going to have to see if it ends up mattering or not. Looks like we just passed from there after benching a Miltank. We're going to see a Chorus's Experiment, so that Roxanne for 2 actually sort of benefiting the Arceus player here. So we'll have to see if we can just get maybe some sort of, like, I don't know if they're playing like Cross Switcher in this. I mean, I wouldn't, but they're not playing Boss's Orders this turn, but maybe next turn they can boss up a Gardevoir and knock it out. It does have 140 HP, so you would still need to evolve into one of your evolution Pokemon here. I do believe that we are at 4 in the Lost Zone as well for the Arceus player. So we are going to see an Ultra Ball. We might finally see that Arceus V-Star come down. I don't think that you go for the Pikachu yet. Yeah, you definitely want to go V-Star. You have 90 on you. That would put you at 190 HP left. So Goodra would still be one-shotting you. You do have to be a little concerned that that Goodra might attack on the next turn. So if you're playing something along the lines of a Big Charm, you might want to try to get that with Starbirth if you can remove your own path to the peak this turn. Looks like we are going to hit for exactly 200, which is really easy to mark with those damage counters. We are going to start setting up this Flying Pikachu V. Yeah, it makes me wonder if this is Arceus Pikachu Ice Rider on the right. Just because of all of these water energies, and we did see Ice Rider get shown on the stream earlier. But we're going to maybe want to look for a Flying Pikachu in a future turn so that then the Miltank can't do anything to you. Of course, it does kind of create a stalemate. We are going to use Gardevoir number 1 just to draw 2. We're not going to see any energy off of that. We're going to use Hisuian Heavy Ball to look at our 6 remaining prize cards here. And they only have about 8.5 minutes left. But again, we do have a player that's at 1 prize remaining. So it is likely going to see a conclusion here. That's why I like 25 minutes best of 1. You always see a conclusion to your game. Almost always. I suppose at my the last Winnabox I played in, I did tie one of my rounds, so it was 30 minutes best of 1. So, but I was, to be fair, I was playing against Goodra and I kind of bricked. So I just kind of say that a lot with Lugia. Oh yeah, I just bricked. That's something Lugia just does, but it's just so powerful that like you can survive bricking a couple turns. It was a really interesting situation. I think there was a big Parasol on the Goodra, so I couldn't use Yveltal. And then I was attacking with smaller things. I think I don't quite remember how it went. I just remember there was a Moisture Star, and it really annoyed me. I beat them in the finals though, so it was fine. My dude Tori. I hope he comes around more often. I have a lot of friends in this game. Some of them just don't play so much of me anymore, and I would love to see them play more again. Looks like we still do not have an attack with this Goodra. I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen any just attaches for turn from hand, because I feel like if this player just attached for turn to this Goodra at quite literally any point, he might have actually had a single attack be able to go off. But yeah, it looks like this game concludes with the player on the left only doing the attack with the Greninja, and that is it. And the Arceus Pika wins very convincingly, 6-0 here. So congrats to them. I do believe that they have 2 pods, so a lot like when we are at like NAIC and the other international championships, they have 2 pods because they have such a great amount of players. I do believe that there are 2 separate pods and they are staggered so that one of them plays and then the other one plays on stream, and then you do round 2 of the first pod and then round 2 of the second pod on stream. So I want to say that that's how it's going to go, so we're going to see if we see another round 1 after this or if we go to round 2. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Japan format is really cool. They're essentially 3 months ahead, so it's nice to see how decks are going to evolve before they actually do over here. And we can kind of get a leg up on the metagame by paying attention to events like this. So do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Subscribing makes it so you can see my stuff in your feed more often every time you go log into YouTube. So if you do enjoy stuff like this, if you made it all the way to this point, definitely subscribe so you see more of that stuff. Hit the like button so that it shows up in other people's feeds, so that then the cycle just continues, the ball gets rolling. And we will see you guys next time.